We're in the Honda Accord V6 manual, which means we must have gotten some maintenance done. Let's see what we did. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of Project Enthusiast Spec Accord. That's our 2003 Honda Accord V6 Coupe manual. On this episode, guys, we're gonna catch up on some maintenance, some random maintenance that was left on the table that we need to take care of. And why don't we work in some amateur body work, because everybody loves that. Let's get in the garage, get some work done. Time to get our freshly wrapped wheels back on the car. Our Sumitomo HTR all-season PO3s. Gonna be a fantastic tire for this commuter. So, fresh rubber always wins the day, right? So let's get it on there. All right, we'll tighten these down and then we'll lower the car and tighten them the rest of the way. Can't wait to see how this new rubber reacts. I think the car's gonna be pretty happy. I decided while I had everything out of here to go ahead and do the transmission fluid at this time. Let me show you guys where it is. You can see my 3/8 inch ratchet with extensions going down into there. So it's simply where a 3/8 inch ratchet will go. See right down in there where that's going. It just simply fits in there and you really have to crank. It's only a 3/8 inch and when it breaks it makes a very sharp snapping noise. So that's loose. Now, you always want to do, obviously, like I say every time I show transmission fluid, you do the fill plug first, just to make sure you're going to be able to get new fluid in. You don't want to drain and then find out you can't fill again. So, draining the trans is super easy on this vehicle. You can see it right here. Same deal, 3/8 inch is going to go right in there. You can use your socket extensions to make it a little easier, get a little more leverage. Pop that loose and that fluid is gonna come flying out. I can't remember, I think it's a little under 3 quarts. You're gonna use Honda manual transmission fluid match for this car, or I've heard good things about the Synchromesh, the GM brand, or any other, the aftermarket Synchromesh ones. That's transmission tends to like that stuff, so that's what I'm gonna go with. It's always good to have all these kind of flex attachments and stuff. All right. That piece needs to go in all the way. And we're gonna be loosening today. So let's do it. This is insane, guys. Yeah! Either I broke the tool or did I get it loose? I don't know, did it move? Oh yeah, we got it loose. Here's the part where the fluid squirts out way further than anticipated and makes an awful mess. Yeah, it's pretty clear trans fluid. That's awesome. It's a great sign. I'm telling you, this car was well maintained, but like I said, I didn't get any records, so you do this stuff to be safe. All right, we'll let that continue to drain till it's all good and empty. And then we'll come back and fill her up. I'll be using this Pennzoil Synchromesh. It's the same as GM Synchromesh and a lot of people love it in these Accord V6 transmissions. So we're gonna put about 2.5 to 3 quarts to top it off. We're gonna go ahead and dump it down this funnel you can see behind me. All set. Let's keep the maintenance theme running here with the Honda Accord. Let's do a cabin filter change. Those are always forgotten and super straightforward on Hondas. So just pop your old reliable glove box. This might be tricky with one hand, but you can fold the sides in like so. And then the glove box will kind of angle down. If your glove box is full of stuff, it's all gonna dump on the floor at this time, which is fun. Your actual cabin filter is behind that kind of like honeycomb looking thing right here. You simply pull in, again, a little trickier with just using one hand, but you're gonna pull in these little tabs here. These always get forgotten. So let's see what the condition of ours is. Oh, I can already feel debris on the bottom, leaves and stuff. All right, let's have a look at this. Oh yes, sir. So here we go. Here's the cabin air filter we were working with. This is what we were breathing in the car. It's completely full. Oh, look at that. Time for a new one. Yeah, when you put it next to a new filter, it really helps you recognize how bad it really is. So, old one, new one. All you gotta do is swap it into the housing for this one, slam it back in. Installation of the new air filter, cabin air filter, is super easy. Even a 5-year-old can do it. Go ahead, Teddy, slam that back in there. Perfect! All done. Can you give it a thumbs up? Can you put your thumb up like that? Yeah. All right, guys, another important job done. We are inside the Accord V6. As you can see, I've pulled off the light covers here, and that's because almost all of the interior lights in this car didn't work. A few did. Same with the dome light you can see right there. Pretty normal stuff that these things go bad at 220K. So it's pretty easy. You can just pull down the plastic covers. Really no challenge in doing that. And then the nice thing is all these kind of overhead bulbs use the same light bulb, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead and install those, and we'll see if that takes care of our lighting issue. Looks like that did the trick. Time to put these covers back on. It is nice having that interior light, isn't it? How can we do all this work to this car and not replace these wiper blades? How uncouth would we be? Replacing these blades, the wiper blade part is completely worn off, so that's very close to being at the stage where your metal from your wiper blade scrapes on your windshield, and that is no fun. So we've got some new wiper blades to put on. Now on the 2003 Honda Accord, it is a 26-inch, pretty large driver's side, 18-inch for the passenger. So let's go ahead and knock this out. Wiper blades complete. I think a great way to start off the cosmetic improvements on this Accord are to take care of these super yellowed, hazy headlights. Nothing detracts from a car more than having this look like this. It just, I don't know, it's just something that just makes the car look aged. The headlight quality goes down, so there's a safety aspect. We're gonna bring these back to life using my old favorite Meguiar's plastics. This stuff really works. And then I'm gonna use a DA polisher with a pretty rough foam pad to kind of get in there. You gotta be kind of rough to get this off. So let's see what we can do. It's one of the quickest, easiest things you can do to your car and just really improve the overall looks. Oh, yes. Awesome stuff. And then we'll do the passenger side after. Sweet. After sanding and wiping down the entire surface with alcohol, we are ready to lay down our primer coat. So make sure you have everything prepped and taped off that you don't want to paint. That's always step number one. But let's throw some primer down on this bumper. After sanding, we did our primer, our paint, and our clear, and this is what we're currently looking at. So it's got a pretty good shine to it. Just, you know, clear coat out of a can as we go around the entire car. But not at all an acceptable final product. No matter what I do here, you're never gonna get perfect finish out of a clear coat spray. You always have to wet sand. Now with these cans, you do have to wait. You have to give the car plenty of time to cure. If you rush into this, you can just damage the clear coat. You get all smudgy and just leave big scratches. So we're gonna let this cure for probably, give it a few days at least. And then we'll come back and wet sand it down and get the shine back in it. So I'm not looking to paint the entire Accord rear bumper because overall, it's actually in pretty good shape. There's a few trouble areas, the biggest being this fella right here. So what you're seeing here is some pretty deep chips and cuts, but there's a lot of impact spider webs running through this area. Might be hard to pick up on film, but it is pretty severe. So I'm gonna try sanding this entirely down, primer, paint, clear, blending it into the rest of the panel here. Now, two things. I know it's not going to be perfect because the first thing being, I'm a complete amateur at bodywork. The second one being, this is, what, 20-something-year-old sun-faded paint at this time. The new paint, even if I do a great job, is still going to be a little off. So that's two big strikes against me. But I think we can make it look better than this, right? Because this detracts. I mean, overall, this car's paint is fantastic. This area right here is a horrible impact that we need to make look nicer, and I think I can do it. So even if we can make it marginally better looking, that's what we're here to do, right? Let's go ahead and start by sanding this down with some 320 grit, get it back down there where it should be. All right, we were able to knock it down pretty good, but it is a pretty significant area. So when we do go to blend this in with the rest of the panel, it's probably gonna be pretty challenging, but boy, that feels super smooth. So we'll clean that up and get it ready for a primer. Let me zoom out so you can see the scale of what we've done. So yeah, we turned it into a pretty large area, but already feels a lot smoother. Let's finish it off. Before we proceed with primer, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this up, this general area, to help with this blending line here with some 500 grit sandpaper, and that's just to kind of eliminate this slight difference that even though I can't feel it, the 320 grit was maybe a little too aggressive to do so. Time to get this primer on here. Now primer, you just want to basically focus on where we're going to paint. A little splash over is fine, but since we're feathering it in, you don't really want to have primer going too far out. And do a couple coats just like that. Get that whole area kind of blended in there. Time to put some paint over our primer here. Now, what I'm going to try to do is feather it outward. At a minimum, you have to cover all your primer spray because that'll always stand out. So start inward, feather outward, and make sure you cover all the primer areas. Nice light coats to start. Let that dry and we'll keep coming back. Probably do about 3 to 4 coats here and then let it completely tack up and dry about 30 minutes or so, and then we're gonna hit it with clear. After allowing our paint, we did 4 coats to dry for about 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, and that's okay. You don't wanna wait too long, you don't wanna wait till the paint fully cures, so try to get it in that window, usually 30 to 45 minutes. Now we're gonna throw probably 4 to 5 coats of clear over this area and also fan it out just like always, and then we're gonna wet sand this kind of whole area of the panel and blend it all together. So thing to know is when you do put the clear on, you gotta put it on pretty close, the layers to each other. You can't let it fully dry between. And after your 4th, 5th, whatever your final layer is, you gotta really let it sit for a minimum of a few days. I'm gonna let mine go for probably, 5 to 7 days so it fully dries. If you jump into wet sanding your clear, which you always have to do before it's fully dried, it'll make a mess, it'll make scratches, it'll be a nightmare. So just remember this step, you're gonna allow a long time to cure. But let's go ahead and get our clear on. I usually put it on pretty thick, just make sure you're not getting runs, and then make sure you do your follow-up layers within a minute or 2 after you do each layer. And we're looking pretty good where that spot was pretty banged up before. It's kind of hard to tell where I actually painted and cleared if you're looking at it as a whole. So yeah, we still need to wet sand and everything. It won't have the exact factory sheen on it yet. You can see it's pretty shiny after the clear. We will wet sand all that down and make it nice and smooth and very hard to notice. At least there isn't a huge ding there anymore. So while that's drying, I've got some more to do on this corner. We took some pretty big hits there. It looks like scraping, like constant bumper scraping. You can see it's really rough, kind of serrated. Right there, a good spot too, very rough. And down here, some big scrapes and deep cuts. So we're gonna do the exact same thing, sand it down in these 3 spots here. Primer, paint, and clear. Just clear them up a little bit. Gonna make this Accord look good, right?